Ladies and gentlemen, mostly gentlemen, welcome back to this weekend base hit where I am your host Zubaz. I am joined, as always, by a very happy man, Assistant
Over,
Clone. Clone, how was
overdoing it.
your week? Did the Dodgers get anything good for Christmas?
Well, it's nice to finally see those scrappy Dodgers sign a guy.
Finally, they're
This is
finally
an
trying to get
emergency
over the hump.
emergency podcast, like everybody is doing their emergency
Emergency
podcast.
podcast. Yep. We're
Uh,
talking about that guy. And so I want to talk.
Kyle, Mother Tucker.
Yeah. I mean, there's nothing the Dodgers love more than Astros. So it's nice that they finally got an Astro. So I want to talk about three sides of this.
Okay,
I want
what
to
you got?
talk. I want to talk about Kyle Tucker, the player. Just is he a good addition? Well, he's a good addition, but I mean, like the good and bad of Kyle Tucker. Then I want to talk about his contract specifically
Yeah,
because it's crazy. And then I think, the obvious gorilla horse and elephant in the room now is, does a signing like this affect the narrative around an impending lockout, cap considerations, things like that? So I don't know if you had anything else, but how about those
I think
three?
there's gonna be even more angles than that. And again, my push that, you and me, we got big market, small market here, which we can have our different perspectives.
Yeah.
Again, I am a Dodge fan, so I have some opinions very specific to that. But yeah, there's all kinds of angles, man. Let's just dig in.
Okay. All right. So I think we need to start by talking about the fact that the Brewers signed Akil Baddoo to a minor league contract. That's
Okay.
like the news of the offseason. Thank
Congratulations.
you. Akil
Congratulations.
Baddoo, he hit 118 last season. So nowhere to go but
Very
up.
nice.
He really
You were
did
the
hit
one that
118.
texted me last night. I have been following
Yep.
the rumors pretty religiously this off season, but I was like reading with my kid at the time, and then you texted me to tell me, and then I was like, "Oh shit,
Yeah.
I
You're
gotta share,"
like,
because I had
forget my
given up.
kids. Go to bed, kid.
I mean, it had gone on so long, right? So this is part of it is that going into I mean, last year everybody was saying like Kyle Tucker might go to the Dodgers, and we went into the free agency, and is he going to go to the Dodgers? And it had gone on so long because free agency is a while in MLB that I had rationalized like it's not going to happen, and I was trying to figure out what the strategy for the Dodgers was going forward. So I had lots of stories in my mind that told me like it's a good thing it's not going to happen or everything else. So now I have to readjust to like, oh no, it is going to happen.
Um,
Um,
all right, so I want to get into let's talk about the contract first and then talk about Kyle Tucker second, because I can't get the contract out of my head. The thing I kept texting you last night in all capital letters is he makes more money than Shohei Ohtani, right? Like, and at that point
he does not.
we hadn't
Well,
seen the yeah no AAV. He makes more than Shohei this year, but
uh,
we hadn't seen the particulars of the contract. Obviously, some of that has come out, but like
it's
60.
only 57
Yeah,
million
yeah. So
here instead
maybe
of
he doesn't. But
people
oh
thought it was
no, he
60.
still does. He still does because even
No, I know it's the
Ohtani's
record. It's
ramped.
the record.
Yeah. Like this feels like an abuse of the system when you're paying Kyle Tucker. And granted, he's a four WAR guy, but there's a lot of four WAR guys. Like he is making as much as Juan Soto practically. Like,
But
and
he
there's,
didn't get the years. He
but
didn't
there's,
get the years because he was looking for he wanted
he could have
10
got the years.
years. He wanted 10 years. Right? And we were hearing that was what the Blue Jays were offering. I don't know if it's come out what they offered, but he wanted the big deal. As your point, because I know you're worried about Kyle Tucker, he did get the opt-outs. So in 2 years, if he decides he's not making enough
Then he
money,
could make some more money. Yeah. Those
he could
opt-outs are completely irrelevant. Nobody's opting out of this contract.
we'll see.
He couldn't, I mean, he could have Cal Raleigh numbers next year and not be able to opt out because there is only one team in Major League Baseball that's going to pay somebody $60 million dollars with a four WAR.
Yeah. Apparently the Mets offered
50.
Four, no more, four for 220. Um, so
Four
they
for
were they
220.
were they were ready to set the record anyway, and then the Dodgers went over. But well, that's so. This is I understand. I went
That's a
on and I
crazy
when you were
contract.
telling me about
Yeah,
this,
but
what?
just can you admit that it's a crazy
Oh, it's
contract? Because
great.
I
I mean,
feel like
the
you're trying to
numbers
downplay the fact that he's making more than everybody but one player in Major League Baseball. Kyle Tucker, a
the
guy
numbers
that
have
that
been
does not run
insane
out
for a long
singles.
time, and this is more insane. I I was watching like when you told me yesterday, I felt dirty for an hour. I was still adjusting to it. And then I went on and I was watching all the reactions. And then I saw some people go, I saw it was a Toronto, it was a Blue Jays
No,
podcast where they were so angry. And then I started to enjoy it a little bit more
because
because,
once again they got used. They got used to bid up a player, right?
uh,
Oh, they got
you think
used
that's what happened? You
again.
think that's what happened? I have no idea. I mean,
Well, I
it,
mean, it just because of the result. I'm not saying there was no chance he was going to go to Toronto like Shohei. I'm just saying like they got leveraged up and then they missed out on another big
oh
player.
yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, they were just like, they didn't even know the numbers when it first started, and then the numbers came out. But it was just seeing like
Oh,
this live
while they were
reaction of like
recording.
got him for 4 years. And they were just like, and the Toronto people specifically were like, the Dodgers are like geographically like so far away from us, and they are our rivals. Like they're in our heads, and every season they're doing
Yeah.
this to us. I'm like so angry. And then the numbers came out, and then they were just like, "Oh, you gotta be kidding me!" But I mean, so I do understand again as a Brewers fan. I understand why it's embarrassment of riches. It's ugly. Why it'd be frustrating, but like they're wasting. Dodgers are wasting money. Like it's not good money. They are in a
That I would
position.
agree with. Yeah, that
They
I would
are in
agree
a
with.
position that they can do it, but like to some extent, like don't you want like like
Oh, yeah. I see where, yeah. Finish that thought. Sorry.
yeah, they're like I mean they're again I said this last year with Snell or whatever. They had whatever 20. Yeah, it's as high as possible, which is still like maybe a 20% chance to win the World Series. Adding Kyle Tucker, which is gonna with the tax is gonna cost them 100 something million a year, and
And
is
two
gonna
more picks.
raise the percentage to what 20.5%. Like, is that smart money? It's not smart money.
No.
Uh,
But it is the best left fielder they've had in a generation, so like locking down their weakest point on the team between closer and left fielder. I mean, it really makes them look on paper invincible, but that doesn't mean they are invincible. But on
yeah, they
paper, like they
in
are
baseball, in
absolutely
baseball,
invincible.
invincible is not invincible. There's no guarantee of what's going to happen. Absolutely, you get into the playoffs and then you see what happens, right? Again, Dodgers. There's a billion different ways they could have lost this World Series. We can go. You can refer to our other conversations that they could have just lost the World Series. But I mean, it definitely helps them out.
Uh,
I'm just saying it's not smart money. Uh, he was sitting. People are acting like, other teams. I know that you feel bad for Steve Cohen, poor Steve Cohen, that he didn't want to spend his money, but like this has been going on for 2 months. People could have locked him down. Uh,
yeah. Well, so let's talk about that because I think that's probably the most interesting part of the story for me because since he was a Cub last year, I watched him like just I got so annoyed by him and Pete Crow Armstrong and I am just truly an unabashed Cubs hater. Um, but I saw him through like July 17th, I forget what the date was. He was the MVP. Like he was dominating baseball and people were talking about it as like first half MVP. And then something happened where he's, playing against the Pirates and he hits a ground ball and doesn't even get out of the box. And then they're playing the Brewers, and he kind of slow trots to first, and we end up bobbling the ball, and he would have been safe, but he ended up being out on a double play because he didn't run it out. And it was like all of a sudden I was like, something wrong with him? Like, does he not like playing baseball? And I started watching it closer, and then the interviews start coming out where like during the All-Star game, he was so glad he was next to Shohei
Yeah, I
because he
saw that.
didn't have to answer any questions from
Yeah,
the press. And then rumors started coming out that like in his contract negotiations, he was actually feigning that he wanted a long-term deal, but he was really looking for a high AV short-term deal. And there was this rumor that he wants to retire. And then it was like the Anthony Rendon syndrome. Like it
yeah,
just
yeah,
kept
yeah.
piling up to this bigger and bigger thing. He's also missed time, 3 different seasons with injury, which I don't know if that's all that abnormal. He only missed a few games last year, but he actually did get benched against a 3 game or a 4 game series with the Brewers when the Cubs were still in the pennant chase. He got benched for a slump. And, you
This
know,
year?
yeah, this year he got benched 4 games
Okay,
against the Brewers because he was slumping.
okay.
And
And
this he
had
this
injury
was in
things going.
August. And so yeah, some people said it was the injury, but if the injury
I've
caused a
heard
slump,
all
I don't
this
know.
stuff. I've heard all the
So who's
stuff. What's
Kyle
real?
Tucker? You tell me who's Kyle Tucker?
I don't know. So first of all, as soon as the Dodgers signed him, because we at the beginning of the free agency we heard like how good he was. Then you start to hear all this other stuff. There's questions. You were telling me Kyle Tucker's done. Then
I did. I said he was cooked on
all of a
this
sudden,
podcast.
the Dodgers sign him, and everybody that's angry is, oh my God, I can't believe they signed such a mega star as Kyle Tucker. Like all of a sudden, he's such a gold ribbon guy that like
Yep.
everybody needed. Like which one is real? Uh,
Yeah.
yeah,
I
I
did.
mean, and I was watching specifically. There's a guy that does Dodger rumors every day, and even yesterday, when he was talking about what might happen and what might not happen, and you see the comments scrolling through, and you see all these Dodger fans like, we don't want Tucker, like screw that, Tucker could go wherever, and then yeah,
And
anyway,
now they're like, we got him.
we
We
got it,
got him. I've
baby.
always
Yeah.
loved that dude.
So I don't know what he's. I mean, he's been a very consistent guy. Um,
Yeah, he still ended up with a 4 WAR last year, even with a slump so bad that they had to sit him.
I'm hoping.
He was like at an 8.5 WAR prior to that slump. Like he was dominating.
And the last 5 years, I don't know how many players have been. He's been, I think, 4.5 WAR every year for the last five or
Yeah,
four. I don't know
3.6 to 4.4 every year.
how many guys. He hasn't had the mega year, but he's been good all those years. I don't know how many guys there are. I'm assuming when you talk about the rumors, you would hope when the Dodgers are putting this kind of money in that they have done their due diligence. Um,
Yeah.
I'm
Like
gonna
I said last
assume that
night,
they
they
know
don't
what they're
make
doing.
mistakes. They don't make
Yeah, I'm
mistakes.
assuming they know what they're doing, and I also know that Toronto and the Mets were really wanted him.
Yeah.
So I'm just taking those as the hints that he's not the broken dude that some people are acting like, but I don't know. We'll
I
see.
don't know either. I did say
Obviously,
during our free agent show that he was cooked, and I really genuinely think there's something wrong with him. I really do. I don't know what it is, if he doesn't like baseball, if he's hurt more than we realize, it maybe his body's breaking down. Who knows? Who knows?
the
But
not wanting to be the spotlight guy, like that doesn't bother me. Like I know that
well, that's
some people didn't
great
like
for the
that.
Dodgers, right? That's great for him. That
Yeah,
might even be
perfect.
why he went there, is so he's not the star. Like even making 60 million a year, he's still the fourth person in line for autographs, right? Like,
Yeah.
or no, not maybe even more.
I mean,
Yamamoto would be
don't
important.
you want? I mean, some people want the guys that want the spotlight, but don't you want a guy that just wants to play and doesn't have to
For
be
sure.
the
He might be
star?
the
I
lunch
mean,
pail guy, and it overwhelmed him being the star in Chicago because Chicago is a huge, huge market.
well, that's right there. You're talking about him having an attitude problem. Can't we just say he was with the Cubs and he was like just
There it
uncomfortable?
is.
Yeah, no, no,
I'm
no. I
glad. I'm glad I'm turning you into a Cub hater, even if
We'll
I don't.
find out. I don't know how to feel about him. It was hard to watch highlights last night of him in the Cubs uniform and not be like, "There's something wrong with this guy." But I'll have to see. I'll have to see what it looks like during the season. But I do know again, the story on him has changed so much in that,
Yeah.
yeah,
No,
that
and that's true.
he was tarnished goods, and as soon as the Dodgers got him, oh shit, they signed another big star. That yeah,
I mean,
uh,
and that everything you're saying is true, and even I'm a little bit guilty of it. But Uh, I think it was like the $60 million that made it hard to ignore. Where it was like, well, clearly the Dodgers see him as something different than what I see him. I wouldn't even sign him as a GM because I'd be afraid of like this black box that I feel like he's become. But $60
Again,
million, dollars,
it's
I
four
have to be
years. I
wrong,
know it's a
right?
ton of money. It's a ton of money, but it's 4 years uh, instead of 10.
With player
So
opt-outs.
with
It's
player opt-outs, which is,
absurd.
I mean, yeah. So if he stinks, they're still going to be stunk. I mean, they're still going to be on the hook for it. But I knew that was what they wanted. That they wanted a shorter term deal. In
Yeah.
terms of, again, like
And that's not
people.
really a short-term deal for them. 4 years is just a normal contract, right?
Yeah, well, in terms of what he wanted, I mean, I know what you're saying, but Ohtani has a
Yeah, yeah,
long-term
yeah, yeah,
deal.
yeah,
That
yeah,
says a
yeah.
long-term deal. Yamamoto has a long-term deal. It wasn't,
Do we have all
and
the terms of the contract? You were you
what
yeah,
I
you
had
talked about
heard
that
was,
signing
and
bonus, which
and I could be totally wrong, but what I had heard was it's like 60 something million signing bonus, uh,
that's crazy.
30 million deferred, um, 57 million AAV, opt-outs starting in the second year. And as stupid as the opt-outs sound, I mean, he was Boris, right?
Yep.
Um, those
Yep.
have been working out for people, and it actually
Pete
sounds like
Alonso
that's what they wanted, right? That he'll make a stupid amount of money these first 2 years, and then he could go back in. And if he has a good 2 years, he can go back in and sign his 8 year deal if he wants. And he's ahead of the curve and he can
Oh,
make all that
yeah.
money over time.
Actually, that's a good thought. He could do that. Yeah. I mean, he's what, 29,
Yeah.
so he'd be 31. So yeah, somebody probably still sign him to like a 7-year deal. So
And then he doesn't have to sign it for as much. Um, the if you think about if he did get a long-term deal from Toronto, let's say, I don't know what their numbers were. I know what was reported for
was 10
for
year 40,
Mets,
400 million or something.
maybe. So if you do that, you figure when you sign a contract like that, the idea is early on you're paying less than what they're worth, that they're worth more,
Yes.
and later you're taking a bath on it. So if you're thinking that, then he's gonna cost a lot up front. Uh, I don't know. There's different ways to do it, but I do know that yeah, he could be tarnished goods. He could be a problem, and obviously it's a luxury that if the Dodgers screw it up and he stinks, they're still going to be okay.
Yeah,
They're
it's kind of like
probably
when they signed Conforto. Conforto was like 2 years off of a big year, but
yeah,
they didn't have to pay him a lot of money. So when he bombed out, it wasn't a big deal.
and they paid
But
him a
but
lot for what he was.
for
They paid him
what,
more than he was
yeah.
worth, and then he stank. But yeah,
But if Kyle Tucker stinks at $60 million, it becomes one of the worst contracts in Major League Baseball history.
but the fact that I mean,
Ooh, guaranteed contracts, I guess. Not like
guaranteed
yeah.
contracts, they're just not in it for as long. But this goes to the bigger question of like this is when I started to turn last night is because like I had mixed feelings about like the hate for the Dodgers is gonna go even crazier. Uh, they're
Yes.
they're an old team. They're the oldest team in baseball, and I don't
Yes.
know if you understand this, but everybody got a year older a year later. So
Yep.
they are
I
even
did I did
older.
hear about that.
They are even older, so they need to get younger. So hoping that they can get younger. They've got prospects. They've supposedly got a great farm system, but like those guys are going to get blocked, and they're going to need spaces for them at some point. Um, so like, is it a smart move? But then I start to hear people say like, "Oh, the sleazy Dodgers," and that was what pissed me off because this is not a sleazy. This is
I
what
didn't hear anybody
everybody.
saying that. What do you mean by
Oh,
sleazy?
I don't know. They nabbed him and the deferred contract. I don't know. Just
Oh.
people that just it's jealousy.
I
It's
don't think
whatever.
that's true. They're not sleazy.
Everybody should want
They're just
their
they're
team to do.
redlining. They
Yeah.
got their foot to the and because they know it's going to change. So they're like, why not just hit the gas and run this as hard as we can for as long as we can until it changes?
And everybody should want that for their team. If they're making a lot of money because the Ohtani deal that is so enormous is so profitable, and everybody should have signed it. and everybody should have paid him even more because of the Japanese market, because of the marketing money that they're making. They're making so much money from that. In terms of profits, like everybody should want a, their team to put the profits back in the team and not, I mean, would you feel better if they're just sitting at home? We've said before, if it's Scrooge McDuck and you'd feel better if the Dodgers are swimming around in their cash instead of putting it back in their team. Everybody should want that. Um,
Yeah,
I understand why
I don't
I know
disagree
there's a
with
lot
that.
of teams that can't do that, but
Yeah, yeah. So in a vacuum, you're exactly right. In the totality of it is like there's one part of the game that I feel like as a small market team, we just don't get to compete on, and that becomes a competitive imbalance. Now, the counter argument to that is a lot of those big money teams, like their skill at all the things the Brewers are good at, atrophy because they can hit this easy button of free agency, which
yeah,
is arguably true, but I would just say, but it doesn't need to be. They could be good at that because the Dodgers are good at that. The Mets aren't good at it. The Yankees, well, the Yankees aren't that bad, but you see what I'm saying is like they
yes.
could be good at it. The Dodgers are good at it. But that said, with Edwin Diaz, and you pointed this out last night, and Kyle Tucker, they lost 4 of their first 5 picks in the upcoming draft because both had a
They lose.
qualifying
Yep.
offer on them. So like there is, it's a little crapshooty after in a baseball draft, but still losing 4 of your top 5 picks is not good for your farm system.
There's a lot of things that baseball has done to try to balance things out that are smart. And I still, we're going to get into this conversation, but I think that they could ramp those up. But like the draft picks are going away. They'll have less money for international signings. Um, the the tax is insane. Nobody talks about like that tax
That luxury tax.
is is helping out a lot of teams. Like that goes into the system. That's paying off the player benefits. That goes into the revenue sharing for other teams to be able to spend money. So like it's not like it's just getting burned into nowhere. That goes back into the league. Um, I know that the idea was the hope I think was yeah it would curb some of the spending, but like if you're not one of the teams that are if you're not Toronto who's hoping to be there World Series night and hoping that Tucker's not coming up, it's not bad for you to get this money for the players that on other teams like they're not going to be angry at this. We were all thinking the market was depressed, right? And there you go. The win
Yeah.
one for the players who are getting some money.
So,
But
on a side conversation there, I guess a two-part question. At this point, the biggest beneficiary of this contract after Kyle Tucker has to be Bo Bichette, right? Because now not only does he probably go back to the Blue Jays, but now he has to get 50 plus million a year.
I don't know about the second one. You would think
No,
that the Blue Jays are going to sign him. I don't know that.
they have to. They just do not have a choice at this point.
Yeah, but
And he has a lot more negotiation leverage than he did yesterday.
you would think so. You would think so, but we've been saying for at least a month, every single one of these guys that the Mets have to sign this guy. The Mets have to sign this guy, and we're still waiting for that to kick in. Uh,
They'll get Framber. It's coming.
uh, the lockout conversation is just going to get stronger, and I do understand that. I don't what you were just saying about teams atrophying. I mean, I do being an older team like Dodgers are going to be broken this year. They're just older, uh, and it'd be nice to get some of what you have with the Brewers, which is these young guys that come up that are super exciting that you get from the beginning that you love. Dodgers have had that in the past, and it didn't used to be the story. This didn't used to be the Dodger story a few years ago. Like Corey Seager came up with the Dodgers, right? And he's still one of the
Yeah.
biggest guys in baseball. They let
Yeah.
him go. Um, but
Trey Turner too, right?
yep, yep.
And yeah, and to be fair, they also get themselves into a problem with superstars. Like you look at like Mookie Betts, who's another year older. he was pedestrian at best last year, but because he's Mookie Betts, you still want to bat him first or second. But
Yeah, yeah,
but like if you took the name away and just made him player A, he wouldn't have been batting where he was batting all year
true.
if he wasn't named Mookie Betts, right?
It's true. I mean, these are first world problems, I know, but
I
yeah.
no, but
Uh,
that's a real thing, and I
I
think
mean, it's hard. You gotta stay when you've won two in a row. How are you gonna get these old guys that are making a ton of money to be motivated? We're talking about, you had the line from one of our other conversations about Juan Soto and like
give
who
him a
who could have
billion
guessed that he's
dollars, is he
not
going
going
to
to
run
run harder
faster?
when he's a billionaire?
Yeah, billionaires
So
don't run as fast.
um, eh, just generally as a Dodger fan, like coming into it, like everything had to go right for them to win it again, and I've just known I've just known that it's never going to be as good again. Like that's just how it felt to me. Was like this is amazing, and it is never going to be this good again.
I would
And
agree with that because it was like the most triumphant, exciting World Series in a long time. Anybody that expects something, a, a World Series win like that again would be fooling themselves. That was on like par with like the 92 Blue Jays, how they won that World Series, the Joe Carter series. Like it was just really magnificent.
and then what do you as the ownership, what do you do at that point? Like they have a fear of falling off the cliff at some
Yeah,
point,
you got to
which
go all in, right?
is the conversation. Like, yeah, what do you do? Like you gotta so they've done what they gotta do is like
Edwin Diaz, Kyle
Edwin
Tucker,
Diaz, Kyle Tucker,
best pitcher,
the
best
money
hitter,
back in,
arguably.
try to keep it going as long as you possibly can. Um, yeah. What else could they? What
No,
else can you do with that
they
position? I
can't do
mean,
anything else at this point. With a potential lockout looming, and I'm not saying there is going to be a lockout. God forbid there's a lockout. Like that would be awful for all of us. No one wins. And so hopefully they get something figured out, but it just adds difficulty to the conversation, I guess. Because like there's going to be a much bigger driving force to say something has to be done.
yeah. There's I don't think that I don't think it would be good, not just for the Dodgers. I think the Dodgers would survive and they would figure out a way, but I don't think
Yeah,
it'd be good for baseball. I still think I think they've got a lot of good ideas and they can just ramp them up. They can make the tax even more egregious. They can make the penalties even bigger. They can cut some of the deferred money abilities, things like that.
yeah.
Um, but
Yeah, I
yeah,
think they have to do some of that, not because the Dodgers took advantage of it. It's just that like once they exposed it, it's like, oh, that can be gamified to infinity if we really wanted it to be. So like they gotta
yeah,
constrict that
it can
somehow.
be. I mean, they still got to spend the money. They still got to pay the money, and they got to sock the money away.
They
But
gotta suck the money away in real time. Yeah.
yeah,
People don't realize that. They think that deferring the money is just like a pay later scam. No, they have to take the money every year and put it into account. So they're not,
yeah,
but they get to keep the yield on it. So they get to invest the money, and
true, that's true.
because the Dodgers are owned by Geiger and the financial they are able to double dip because they
Yeah.
get to charge fees, take that money and get the yield, which
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, so
That's good.
they end
Going.
up making money on it.
Yeah.
They're fine.
They yeah. It's a they didn't invent it. And it's a way and it's happened in lots of sports. It's a way when you have these egos, right? That you want to be able to say, I made the most money ever. And it's a way to get somebody to kind of make the most money ever, but you spread it out over a billion years or whatever else.
Here's my hot take. Here's my prediction over the next 10 years. The Dodgers will be sold to whoever is the richest person in Japan. Whoever that is, that's who's going to buy. I don't know who it is, but just I want to be on record now. The richest person, because they're going to want to max out the value, and the way to max out the value is to sell the team at some point. The richest person in Japan. That's the greatest vanity project ever.
It's an interesting idea.
So Johnny Samsung, or no, that's Korean. Uh, Johnny Toyota, whoever is the richest person in Japan is going to own
Uh,
this team.
is that allowed? Do we have foreign?
Foreign ownership? I don't know. The
Would
Blue
that be
Jays are
allowed?
owned
I know, I
by a
know,
bunch of Canadians.
I know the Canadians. Yeah. Um,
Yeah, I bet they can vote it in. All right.
we'll see. We'll see what happens. I had something else that I left open and I can't remember what it was.
Oh, sorry.
No, 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 no. I mean, there's just so many thoughts on it. Um, oh well, the thing coming in. Again, it's hard. There, I feel sympathy for teams that are just not in this conversation, but it's hard to feel bad about the Mets who they were tinkering around the edges of that they couldn't get it done. I mean, I don't know.
This I can't the storyline all year is how good is Devin Williams? Because they gave up Edwin Diaz to get Devin Williams essentially to save, 13 million bucks. Well, that might not be why. There's probably a lot of reasons why. But Devin Williams better be good. Otherwise, the fan base is going to really shred Stearns and
Yeah,
Cohen, which is too bad because they really are trying very hard for their team. But also, I think there's some players that don't want to play there because they know the internal mechanics of the team are all jacked up.
yeah. I mean, and that's again supposedly part of the story with Tucker. The New York limelight. I don't know. I don't know what being with the Cubs was like, but
Oh,
uh,
New York's the worst.
you can go, yeah, you can go and hide a little bit in LA. And there's I do understand also like there's the one of the Blue Jays guys talking about there's a snowball that goes on, which again Dodgers should ride for as long as they can, which is once you win, once you get the culture going, then you could sell it to the next guy and say, dude, come have some fun and win with us.
Yeah.
And as much as, it's frustrating for people and they want people to fight back. Uh, what's so bad about I think it's I mean this is
Is that how
very
you're gonna end it? What's so bad about the Dodgers winning five in a row? What's so bad about
no
it?
well yeah there's that too. I think it's good for baseball.
I bet you
I think it's
do.
good for baseball to have a,
Dynasties.
a team for everybody to hate. If that's got a focal team to aim for,
We already
focal team,
have
you
one.
don't love them, you hate them, huh?
We already have one.
We
The
already have
Chicago
one.
Cubs.
Uh, and viewership says that it's good for baseball. Uh, things are going up. People are paying attention. It's not just Dodgers lovers that are paying attention. It's also Dodgers haters that are paying attention.
So your
Uh,
argument is we should all thank the Dodgers.
that's not
All
my
the
argument.
small market teams should thank you for more eyes on baseball. Thank you.
I do think
Thank you.
overall, this will baseball. I was checking ESPN. They do they vary where the sports are rated on the list. MLB was like way down the pile this last week or two. Nothing was going on, and I had to
Yeah.
go look underneath. I don't know, college baseball. No, it was way down there. All of a sudden, front page story, MLB, back in the news. I think overall, I do think whatever the tide raising the boat, blah blah blah. I don't know. I'm messing up my metaphors. I think it helps baseball, and the best thing for baseball, yeah, will be because what will likely Dodgers are probably not going to win it again. It's going to be an entire world that is so excited about whoever it is knocking them off, and there's going to be a party all around the world for all you Dodgers haters when it
Is that your
happens.
prediction that the Dodgers lose terribly by to the Brewers in the NLCS this year?
Could happen. My prediction would be the Dodgers don't win again. I
Yeah,
mean, the
yeah.
odds are it's baseball, man. The odds are way against it. And getting Tucker $100 million to 100 million a year to add the teeny tiny grain of sand to add to that weight. We'll see.
All right. Well, I it's a good time to point out that Akil Baddoo also plays left field. And so we'll see all year the big story is going to be who's better, Kyle Tucker
Yes,
or
Layla.
Akil Baddoo.
Uh, are the Mets the fourth best team in the? That's a different conversation.
I don't we will look at that in future weeks. We're gonna rank some of these teams.
Hey
Uh
man, we got to do our just put it in there. We got to do our Hall of Fame ballots fast
oh yeah, when
coming up.
can we do it next week?
Yeah,
Hall of
we
Fame
got
next week. All right. Should we leave it there? We'll leave it there for this week.
you
Oh,
allege we're not a Dodger podcast, but I made you talk about the Dodgers again.
all the
Uh,
time. That's all we talk about because
you
they're
didn't.
good, so good for baseball.
Well, that's what people have an opinion about the Dodgers. You didn't give me the Brewers. We made jokes, but you didn't give me the Brewers perspective. I know that you are supportive of the Dodgers for me, which is a nice thing. But what would the Brewers? What's the Brewers world have to say? Or is it just so out of the stratosphere that
Oh, I
not
think
even
no, I think
agree?
I did give you the Brewers perspective. Brewers fans think there's something wrong with him. Like so the Brewers fans think this is a
So
bad
the joke.
signing. It's not
Okay.
a joke, but it's like they think it's a bad signing. We just saw a lot of them this year, and like there kept being, and like also he sits in the dugout by himself a lot, and maybe that's not abnormal, but I don't know. There's just a lot of like things that you pick up where you're like, I don't know, he's not going to be a real active clubhouse guy, but not necessarily a bad clubhouse guy. He just doesn't like to talk. He's a winner. He plays good baseball, but then it doesn't seem like he always wants to play baseball. Uh, he's a four-WAR guy, but he gets hurt at some point every season. So it's like kind of one of the, you know, oh, I just did 6-7. He's just one of those. Like, I don't know what you're gonna get, to be honest.
And that's what, yeah, like they were. I'm going to go back to the Mets, but when it was coming out that the Mets were offering 4 years, 200 million, there's a bunch of people like this is stupid money, and it would be a bad deal,
Yeah.
and just let it go. So then, like, yeah, why? As much as people are saying it, like, don't aren't you happy that somebody's making a bad deal? I don't know. I don't know.
We'll
If it's
see.
not if
If
it's
it's a
not your
bad
team,
deal,
isn't it funny that somebody's making a bad
if
deal?
it's a bad deal, it might be brilliant. Who knows? We'll see.
Surely they could have split up 57 million over a couple different players and
They
gotten
could
some.
they could have got three relievers,
Yeah,
really
there you
good
go.
ones, really
There you
good
go.
ones for that.
That's what we'll be talking about when he's current when he's sitting in the corner by himself in the dugout and everybody doesn't like him. And
Or when he's sitting in left field while some reliever's serving up meatballs and he's just watching balls go over his head into the stands.
Kirby Yates is gone. Kirby Yates
Kirby
is
Yates
gone.
is gone. Yep.
All right,
All
we'll
right.
find out.
We'll leave it there. Thanks for enduring this scourge in baseball. But I'm going to leave it right here. Here's a riddle. What do Kyle Tucker and Baseball Reference have in common? A big red flag. We're out.